this is just the perfect. And then I went to my new table, and this is where it just all went wrong. Just like I just knew as soon as I was like the 10,000 buy-ins, fuck now, like it's gone. It was one of the best days ever.
Yeah.
We had to go to this little room where we met the brand people from 888, and they gave us all $10,000 in dollars.
Cash?
Yeah, in cash, yeah. And we had to go down to this room where you transfer them. You pay, and then when you get to your table, they give you the chips there, and you get your little ticket. And this ticket tells you what room you're going to be in, because there's 3 different rooms, like the Amazon, Sahara, is it one?
And the Brasilia.
Yeah.
Something.
And there's 3 different rooms, and there's on our day, I think there's like 900 players. I could be wrong. Split across what? Well, 90 tables, 100 tables, something like that.
Yeah.
And just before we get given it, I say to Chip, he was like, "I'm on table 500," and I went, "Yeah, me too." And then I went, "Nah, fuck that." Imagine that. I get my ticket, and out of every single table in there, I'm on Chip's fucking table.
Oh wow,
It was mental.
The odds of that is just insane.
I couldn't really believe it for like the first 5 minutes. I was like, there must be like something here. We're in a different room or something. But
Yeah,
no,
like
we
we're
were
looking at-
genuinely on the same fucking table.
But so I'm the first one at the table. You go in your room and you don't know who you're going to be sat with. It could be there's hundreds and hundreds of people. You don't know who you're going to get at the table. And I walk in and I get the wrong seat because there's 9 seats and I had seat 2, but I went to 2 to the right of the dealer and I sat down and this guy went, "No, you're there." Like, and he was quite abrupt. And then he went, "Oh, you're English." I was like, "What does that mean? Like, I should still know the rules of poker." And I sat down. And I thought it was going to be tense. And when about half an hour or an hour, no one spoke.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
No one spoke. They just play, and you're always worried about doing the wrong thing or putting the wrong amount of chips in. But Chip turns up 10 minutes later. Have you seen what he turned up in?
No.
He turned.
It's fucking outrageous.
Everyone's just wearing normal clothes. Some people are in like suits and that. He turns up in this red Hawaiian t-shirt that says Jamaica One Love on it or something mad like that, and these big red reflective sunglasses and a hat down there. He just sits there like this with his chips, and I just every time I look up and catch his eyes, they don't know we know each other, so I'm trying not to laugh. But what did you? Was that always your plan?
That was my plan. I was gonna have a good time. I'm gonna go in there, fuck about, wear these sunglasses and this mask so they can't see my facial expressions.
It's so good.
But then eventually I was like, I'm making so many fucking mistakes. They already know, so I just took it all off, and I was like, God,
slowly just coming up.
it was piece
What a
by
sad
piece.
moment that is. They know I'm a dickhead. They know.
I spoke to them about it at the table at some point. I was like, "What do you lot think when I rocked in there in the cycling sunnies?" And this guy was like, "Yeah, there's people rock up in suits." And there was a guy dressed as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, there
playing,
was. There was.
Yeah.
There was a guy kind of dressed a little bit like Macklemore in thrift shops. He had a big blue, like, furry coat on and these massive gold chains. What was your table like? Because obviously you were on a different one to us.
Yeah, well, it was still kind of weird because I was only, again, 2 tables away from you guys. So I would even consider that quite a mad coincidence. I didn't expect to even see you guys in the place.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I'm going to be by myself for this whole day. But yeah, I could look over. And that was also a bit of a problem because I was at my table and I had no pro players. Everyone there was like amateur players. And so what they would, that was their $10,000. Their $10,000 meant a lot more than a pro player's $10,000 because either one, they have a lot more earnings or winnings, or the pro players often had their sponsors would cover their buy-in so that they would get the advertising and so on. And so mine was very serious. Mine was super tense. And I would just look over and it was like a sad puppy on the other side of the window. And these are cracking up. They're having jokes. They're laughing, smiling. And I'm just looking over like, what the fuck? How the hell are these? Why are they having so much fun? And I would try and like crack a little joke, see if I could get the table moving a bit. Everyone just look at me like, shut the fuck up. And I would have one guy right next to me, like that Jack Sparrow guy.
What, he sat next to you?
No. Jack Sparrow guy was on a table 2 down from me. And the geezer to my right just looks at me and goes, I wonder if he got the attention he ordered. What a loser. What a loser. Like that. And I'm instantly there like, that Jack Sparrow guy is clearly here for a laugh.
Yeah.
Right? And this guy to the right of me just having none of it. And so, yeah, we were at the table and it was a very different atmosphere to your guys' table. And you guys look like you having a time of your lives.
We genuinely had the best table, I think, probably in that room. Like, so essentially we're sat there, no one's talking. I soon realised this is like a fucking movie. I'm living in a movie. Like, our characters are poker player characters. So to the right of me, I had some guy, I think he was like an Asian lad or something, and he was like super mathematic. Like he was counting like all the chips. Like he'd look at my chips, he'd know how much I've got just from looking at it. He was really friendly, and he helped me a lot throughout the day. And then to my left, I had this like fairly dopey American guy that kept talking to me because I was British, and it was like the best thing ever to him. To the left of him, you had the really and I'm not stereotyping here. This is exactly what the really eccentric Italian.
He was so funny, man.
Yeah, he'd almost go like, "Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?" Like that.
He was throwing his hands everywhere, but it was fantastic.
Yeah. And then we had a guy from Tel Aviv who was like super serious. I think he was a pro player as well. The one to your left.
Yeah, he was.
Pro, yeah.
Moshe or something he's called.
And then there was one seat free. And that was free for about half an hour. And then so it's like, whoever that is doesn't give a shit. Like, we'll just rock up when they want, or they're just late. And then this guy comes, sits down, and he's got a name badge on. And he's got these sponsors on his arm. And straight away, I'm like, this guy's the real deal. Like, you can just tell. And he sits down, and he just, I don't know if he did this to you, Chip, but he just stared at me.
Yep.
Like, the deepest stare ever. And I sort of look, I catch his eyes, I look away, and then I'm like, shit, he's still looking at me. And I look at him back, and I'm trying to be intimidating as well, because like they don't know I'm an amateur yet. And I'm just looking at him, and I couldn't. I just had to look away. And he's just like that, not horrible stare, but quite intimidated. And then I see on his arm, he's got a name badge. It says Jason Kuhn. So under the table, I get my phone. I'm like, you can have your phone out at the table, but I didn't want anyone to see what I was doing. So under the table, I Googled Jason Kuhn, the 9th richest poker player of all time.
Not bad at it then.
What was his total earnings?
30-something million.
32 million he has made from this.
That is fucking mad.
The watch he had on and everything, I just knew straight off the bat.
Yeah,
Baller.
yeah. But the guy to my right, who was I said to him, "What do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I'm a newly professional player, been pro for a year." And then loads of people kept coming over because we were there at the ambassadors. They were taking photos of us and stuff. And he went, "Oh, I'm getting a vibe like you're famous or something." And I went, "Oh, no, we're just sort of weird." I went, "Oh, I'm a YouTuber." And then he went, "Oh, so you're the second famous person at the table." And I went, "Oh, fuck, he knows that I'm with Chip."
I would definitely say you are more famous than me. So.
That's brilliant.
Wouldn't have got that idea.
Chip, I think, made a wrong move at some point or something, and then Chip went, "Oh, sorry, I'm only playing for a laugh anyway." And Jason nodded and went, "Yeah, me too, man. This is how it should be." Like, and then he really took me and you under his wing. I thought
It was quite nice to us.
Every time we did something wrong, normally people would be fuming, like, "What are you doing in the World Series when you're getting it wrong?" He was actually he went, "No, bub, what do you need to do? You need to say your raise before your chip touches the felt," and was like teaching us on that.
And just as comparison, I made that exact mistake that he spoke about there. I once I put my chips out there on the thing, and then I said raise. And if you do that, it's just and people they assume you're calling. But because I didn't say raise before my thing's chipped, the guy to the left of me goes, "No, that's a call." And I was like, "Okay, right. Well, I'll just call then." He's like, "Yeah, that's another mistake." Like there,
wow.
And I'm literally there, just like,
Bloody arse.
bro, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like if that's a call, that's a call. Fine, let's fucking move on. Like, and not only that, but usually you'd expect that the dealer should be the one to be like, "Sorry, that's not gonna stand. That has to be a call because you have to say raise." And I'm here to learn. Like, I don't mind that. But yeah, I just had really touchy people. But then, like you said on yours, the guy was like, just as a heads up, like, it's a lot more of a friendly environment over there.
We were all laughing, we were all having loads of fun, and then all of a sudden, after the second phase, because we both made it through the first phase, the brand didn't think we would, but we did, and then we made it through the second one.
There were there's 5 levels in the day.
Yeah, 5 phases. Yeah, 2-hour slots, 15-minute break, 2-hour slots, 15-minute. Yeah,
12 hours of poker in total, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then in the second phase, I'd smashed it. My starting stack was 60. I'd gone up to like 90, and I was like chip leader, and I was loving it. And then this guy comes over, and he's got like his earpiece in. He's wearing a suit and that, and he's like giving us all these little plastic holders for our chips. He's like, "Guys, chip up or rack up." He goes, "You get being moved." And we're like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "You're being moved to the feature table." And in this whole room, at the end, there's a table on the stage, sort of thing. But then there's also a secondary one just to the right of it. And we're all getting moved there. And there's like a buzz of excitement now amongst the...
Why did they decide that?
Right, so this is it, yeah. So I'm saying to the guy, like, I say to the sort of goofy guy to my left, I'm like, "Why are we going there?" And I didn't know whether or not it was because we were the 888 ambassadors and they wanted to get some... I didn't know what was going on. And he went, "Oh, I don't know, maybe something to do with Jason Kuhn at our table." And I was like, Oh, right. Yeah, fair enough. So they move us into this bit. We all have to sign these release forms. This is being broadcast.
Oh, to say that it's okay to go on TV.
On American TV. Jason Kuhn was like, "Do you know how crazy this is?" He was like, "I know pros that have played for 14 years and never got to play on the feature table, and you're doing it in your." And we kind of was just like puppy dogs, really. Like, didn't really know what we were getting to experience. We had to write down on this sheet like who we were, what our nickname is, what we do, our 3 achievements outside poker, our greatest poker achievement.
We took the
Turning up.
Yeah. What did you write on yours?
It was like biggest hobby, and I just went drinking.
I was taking it all serious. I was going, I created a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then I see Chip say drinking. I tried to like be a bit of that, so I just put eating. Like, I'm cool as well.
Yeah, eating if you didn't already know.
Wow.
What a messing with.
And then we had to have like our photos taken like properly, because what they were then going to do, the chips there and that had chips in, the cards had chips in them, so it comes up on TV what your hand is and your percentage of win and our little face in the corner and stuff like that. But that feature table was pretty mad.
It was insane.
This is Chip's moment. This was Chip's golden moment. I said I had a really good phase 2. Phase 3 on that feature table, I was getting knocked down. But you just smashed it, didn't you?
Yeah, because on the initial phases, it took me an hour and a half to win a hand in the game. So I was playing really reserved, but at the same time, I was like, shit. I was looking at my phone, seeing Cal was like, I've won 3 hands already. I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Seeing you were obviously on my table, and I seen you gone from 50,000 chips, which is what you start with. You were up to about 65,000 in no times, taking it away from these pro players. I was like, shit, I'm down to 45k. And then we're on the featured table, and then I get, Pocket Aces comes in, and I'm like, this is it. I'm about to take all these fuckers for a ride. So Pocket Aces comes in, everyone's betting, and I'm just like, I'm betting too. I finally play a hand, and then the third ace comes in on the flop, and I was just like, yes, this is the moment. This guy, there's actually, in the final card, when the river comes in, there was a straight, and I was betting against this guy called Anthony Little, who's got $1 million in earnings. So he was the American guy. He was a decent player.
Another pro player.
And he just bets loads, and he's like, this guy's, he thinks I'm lying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And it was my turn to either call or check, but I checked it because the straight was on the board, and everyone goes, amazing move.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks. And I flipped over. I was like, I got 3 and he was like, fuck.
And what, he didn't have the straight
He
then?
had a 2-pair. I think he had a 2-pair. But if I would have called that because he could have had the straight.
Yeah.
So, and then I took all of his chips.
Chip was sat there with his stacks like this, and this American guy, he looks at Jason Kuhn, and he went, Jason, when you woke up this morning, could you have dreamt for a better table with 2 guys that had never played before? And Jason had our backs a little bit, and he went, and he didn't really like this guy either, if I'm being totally honest. And he went, I don't know, man. He went, I've been in worse situations for sure. And then he went, and this guy pointed at me, went, this guy's still got a starting stack, and he's got almost a double starting stack. Oh, and I was just like looking at you like, fucking hell, you have like so many chips, just smashing it. And I don't know if you played like too many hands after that, but you just sort of like, because you were just playing so reserved, you got through phase 3, fine. What I didn't talk about, it was so funny. We sat there and we're gassed to be through the rounds, and then I can see Cal on his table, and Chip's not back yet. And then there's this guy at the front, and he goes, just want to introduce you guys to these 2 blokes, like these 19 and 25-year-old. They've just entered their first tournament last week, and they won $25,000 and $90,000. So can everyone please stand? And we're like,
okay,
what the fuck? And he went, please stand for the national anthem.
What? Yeah, the video was too funny.
And then we stand, and I'm here like this. And I've got my hand, and I just put it across my chest, and it's going, and I just turn, and I'm like, where the fuck's Chip? And then I just see Cal with his head up. He just looks at me out of the corner of his eye, see his shoulders going up and down.
I just couldn't, this was just the most American thing ever.
So intense.
There's no need to do the national anthem here. This isn't the beginning of the whole tournament. We're midway through the tournament, and they've just introduced a couple of young poker players, and he's gone, stand and sing the national anthem. And I'm standing there like, obviously I'm going to do it out of respect, obviously. But I'm looking at, I'm trying to see, am I the only one here that thinks it's a bit weird? So I've looked over at Jack, and at that exact time, Jack's looked over at me. He's actually got a video of it, and I just gave him the eyes. I said, we both were thinking, well, is there any need for this?
Imagine
Yeah.
that in England.
I know.
Yeah.
If you went, you'd be laughed off.
Leave Rainbow Casino, just going, God save our gracious queen.
Yeah,
I want a tenner.
I didn't want to be disrespectful to Americans and that. Like, we really weren't, but it was just a bit OTT.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is how different it is to our culture.
It's just a
isn't it?
culture thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they love getting it out anytime. You know, they win on the fruities. That's it. Belt the anthem out.
Yeah.
Any moment they get.
in
I love it.
Wetherspoons.
Yeah.
There was a moment where Goofy Guy was trying to make a joke to this rich American guy who said, somebody had said to the rich Italian guy, someone had said, oh, you must be loaded. And he went, my dad is. And it was like, okay, like your dad must be big. Because he looked
Yeah.
like he had money, didn't he?
Yeah,
This
he did.
Italian. And this American guy was not being rude to him at all, but he turned. This Italian guy did make it clear that he hadn't understood some of the things we'd said. Like he just hadn't understood it. There's no problem with that. And the American guy turns to him and goes, did you hear? Because Chips won a big hand and we're on the feature table. He went, did you hear? These guys are completely rookies. And he went, yes, I hear. And then he goes, oh, I didn't know if you understood. He went, I can speak English. Like that.
It was exactly like that, man. It was good.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh God, and then he was like, do you know we're playing poker right now? Like that. And then the other guy just went, yeah, the event that you got to on Daddy's money, and it was just like,
got really
my
sour.
God. Yeah,
Oh,
it got
wow.
really, really awkward.
That's quite funny, though.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was good.
And then after that, so we're in the featured table. The vibe is high, like the best time ever. Like everything's. The guy comes over, doesn't he? And what does he tell us? To move.
Yeah, so the table was getting split, right?
Table gets split.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
It just happens because what happens is throughout the day people are getting knocked out on all the other tables. So what they want to do is they want to keep all the tables as full as possible.
So even out the table.
So they told me it's called a break in the table. So they broke their table, and then everyone there gets given a card for your new table to go to where there was an empty seat to fill up all the existing ones. So that's what I found out because my table towards the end of the day as well got broken, and I ended up on a new table as well.
Okay.
And when we were leaving, Jason Kuhn, this pro, had basically just said, like, won't get better than that. Like, how we all just were vibey.
Yeah.
Like,
It was
and
emotional, man.
It
was like leaving the family.
it genuinely was. I
Yeah.
said the exact same thing when I got back to the hotel and I saw Fiona. I was like, I don't know why, but I was upset to leave them. I just felt they'd taught us so much and we'd got on. We went round the table, and apparently this is quite rare as well, but we shook everyone's hand. Like, even the guy that I didn't speak to, I made a point of going round, shaking his hand. He was like, pleasure to meet you. Good luck with the tournament. And then even Jason was like saying to us, like, we'll catch up, man. We'll catch up. I was like, this is just the perfect. And then I went to my new table, and this is where it just all went wrong. Just like, I just knew as soon as I was like, the 10,000 buy-ins, fuck now. Like, it's gone. Do you want to explain what your table was like first?
Okay, yeah. So obviously we'd had the best table ever. I was fucking gutted. Obviously, we went to our new tables, and I sit down, and I'm just looking at these sad fucking bastards. They looked so upset. I was like, "Come on, guys! Like, please, at least look a little bit happy." I sit down and go, "You right?"
I got this.
I've got one hello back, and it was a dealer. I'm like, oh no, got a bloke sat to my right with probably about 300, 400,000 in chips.
Which
and
is
I'm
a lot.
He's wearing a GG poker thing as well. I go, you're a pro player? And he's like, my friends think so. And I was like, all right,
What does that
well,
mean?
I don't know.
Americans say a lot of things
Yeah.
where you just go, okay, you don't know what they're saying.
And he sat there leaning up on the table getting one of them massages. And I'm like, all right. But I've gone in there, I've sat down, I've skipped a couple hands, and I play, and I've just swept the table of all the chips. So they're all probably thinking, oh, he must be a good player. But eventually I was making them rookie mistakes. They all figured it out. And I was like, look, I started playing 2 weeks ago, so but I'm still there.
But I don't think they believed when we said that.
They
'cause
didn't.
I went over and the exact same thing happened. They're all sat there. I had the Macklemore guy in the big blue coat, and he was the only friendly one at the table. He was just like a big lovable giant, really. And I sat down, and then like there was this guy, and I went, "Hi guys," and I had a few murmurs and that. And this one guy who again was getting a massage from this woman, her hand right up his top, his sweaty back as well. He didn't say anything. He didn't look at me. He was watching NFL on his phone, and he was just like looked at his phone. I was thinking, this guy's pretty cold. And then it was the end of phase 3. So we went to our break. Come back, it's just me and him at the table. And then I'm like, I put my bag down and that, thinking maybe we'll warm up a bit now. I've got 2 hours with this guy. Bear in mind, I've still got about 70k left, which is more than I started with.
Yeah.
I just said bye to Cal as well, who's just sat over the way. So I'm like, right, see you in 2 hours, we'll still be in. If I hadn't played a hand, I could have sat there and still had pretty much all my chips finished at the end. I sat down, and again, this is where it all went wrong. I went, he went, I'm ready to steal your blinds. And I went, oh, okay. I went, I only started playing 2 weeks ago, so probably can. And he went, yep, sure. I was just like, oh my God. And I sat at the table eating a Snickers, like just not even saying anything to him, just me and him. And then, so it starts, and this is essentially where I crash out of the tournament. Got all my chips, and I swear, my nan's life, yeah, I'm telling the truth here. Got my mask on. This dealer, she didn't speak great English, right? But she's misunderstood me. So I said, raise, I put a 5,000 chip in, but I go, raise 2,000. Remember the thing Jason Kuhn told me about say it before I put the thing on the felt? So I was like, I got it right. Raise 2,000. To my left, he's folded. He's no part of this hand. Then we've got this cool guy who looks like Masvidal from the UFC sat there. And he's got all the chips. And he didn't do anything wrong this whole time, but he's essentially the guy that got me out. He went, raise 3,000? And I went, no, the dealer went, raise 3,000. I went, no, it's 2,000. This old guy next to me goes, yeah, 2,000. And then he goes, you said 3,000. And I went, well, I don't care. I went, do 3,000 then. Because like, I don't care.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of 70K, 1,000's not a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not actual money, is it? Like $1,000. So I went, do 3,000 then. The dealer went, no, you can't. You said 2. And you said what? And I went, oh, you said 3. I went, I said 2. But all right, fine. Everyone's looking at me at this point. And this guy next to me, who's not even playing, he goes, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, I haven't even done anything wrong. So I'm there, I get a bit shaky and a bit sweaty palms because they all look at you when it's your go.
It's pretty intense. Like anytime it's your turn, everybody's staring at you. All 9, 10 people, all the dealers, everyone's looking at you.
And they're out for blood. They want your money. They want your 10,000. So comes round again, and I make a genuine mistake this time. Someone's raised it, and I've got a match like, I don't know, 2,000, and I put 500 in. He goes, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, what? I don't know my mistake. He's like, you've not met the blind. I'm like, oh, sorry. And he goes, fuck me. And I'm like, oh my God. He said like a phrase for being after. So I was like, I'm on the back end or something like this. He went, I'm on the back end of the worst player in here. And I went, well, I am. I just started 2 weeks ago. I went, surely that's a good thing. And he said something else. And then the third rotation came, and this is where it all went wrong. I was on the ropes. I was shaking. I did the exact same mistake again.
No.
And put 500 in, and I can't remember what he said. I've tried telling the story to him. I can't remember, but it was essentially something like, are you taking the fucking piss? And I've looked at my hand. I've quickly called. He's folded, and again, it's me and Masvidal.
Yeah.
Right? And I look at my pocket. This is before the flop comes out. Looking at my hands, I've got the second best hand you can have in the whole game. I've got king.
Yeah.
My hands are shaking. I have to put my cards down because they can see that I'm shaking. And then Masvidal raises quite a bit, so I raise even more. And he looks at my chips, and he's chip leader with loads, and he goes all in. And I'm not making an excuse. He beat me fair and square. I didn't really know what I'm doing, but because of the added pressure of that guy in my ear and me not really I would have never called it had it been our table because I'd have wanted to stay there as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I just went, second best hand. I went, yeah, cool. Everyone gasps. They all stood up from the table to look at the flop. They were all like, so I showed king. He shows ace. I'm like, oh, fair enough.
Ah, shit.
Go to pick my bag up. Nothing comes out on the flop, the turn, the river, like nothing. So he just wins on his pocket aces. But all of that had happened within 5 minutes of coming back from the break. And as I left, you remember, Cal's playing with his head facing away. And it only just said bye and good luck to me. And I just walked back and I go, Cal. And he just turned around and I go, see you later, boy.
I thought he was going to the toilet because you could just leave and go to the
can.
toilet. And I was there like, what, is he having a shit? What is it? And he never came back.
But these boys were still in. And then I guess you can take it from here because I went back to the hotel room, was keeping up to date on that.
I mean, Chip was just powering away on your new table. And my one broke eventually. And you know how you're like, oh, yeah, you all shook hands when you broke. My table broke. And I stood up and I said, oh, thanks for being like my first poker table. And everyone just walked off.
Fuck this guy.
And I was just like, right, sound. Just picked up my chips and like some
little boy.
I was like a little cuck. That's what I was. I was the table cuck, right? I've just picked my stuff up. I'm looking at. I'm wandering around trying to find it. You know, it's a sad sight. You know, I picked up fuck all chips as well. Yeah. By the way, I'm on the ropes.
You went like that.
Yeah. I pick it up with one hand. You know, picked it up and I said, right, where am I off to? I sat down at this table, and instantly this woman on my left goes, "Hey, how are you?" And I was there like, well, suspicious here. I've just been on a table and everyone was absolute knobs. I was like, I'm good, thank you. How are you? And she was like, yeah, not bad, not bad. And then everybody there was just so nice. Everyone's, how are you? Was it good over there? Yeah, I think I saw you there. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone chatting. And everyone's like, got to be careful about this guy. He's going to make or break your entire game. And then he's the guy to my right. He's like, yeah, he burned me 2 times on the river. Like, all this stuff. And I was there like, so you're telling me you lot have had this much fun all day and I only get this for 2 hours? And I was sitting there and because I had no chips, and at this point, me and Chip, I was like to him, I think I'm just going to try and just ride it out to the end of the day. So unfortunately, I didn't even get a good enough hand for one that I wanted to play because I was playing super tight right at the end. So I said, okay, unless I've got a really top hand here, I'm not going to play. Unfortunately, I never got the cards for it, but even just being there, not playing a single hand, I was like, this has been infinitely better than the stress I was under for the last 8 hours in the other table.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I managed to ride out my day all the way through. I ended up with 15,000 chips. It would have been tough in day 2 for me. That's a pretty low stack. But I was just super proud of myself to just not be knocked out on day 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate, that's a massive
Yeah.
achievement. Like the 888 said, we'll send you, but we don't think you'll get through phase 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
level
yeah.
1. So, which is the first 2 hours. They're like, we expect you guys to be completely knocked out after level 1. And I'd made it all the way past level 5 to the end of the day.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
I
Yeah.
think the odds on that were quite I remember saying to you at one point, I think I'm going to make it through the whole day. And that was
Yeah.
before I'd been split up on the table. I went at phase 4, and then Chippo here.
Yeah, I just stuck to the plan. I was like, I'm never gonna play, but when I play, I'll play super aggressive, and people were folding every time, folding hands, giving me the blinds, or some. But every now and then, you just have one player that I think I can go with against him. He's a rookie, he's probably not got anything, or he's bluffing, whatever. He doesn't know how to play, and then I get to the end. But like I said, I was only playing with the best hands, and if the flop came out, it wasn't good enough. I'd happily fold away a good amount of chips. But if the flop came out and it was good enough, then we'll go to the end.
Yeah.
And it was like the Anthony guy tried that, and then
Got battered.
yeah. But yeah, it happened a couple of times. I had pocket aces twice on that day, won both those hands.
Can I just say, on the run up in Jamaica, Chip said to me on the last day, he's never ever had pocket aces ever, and then
Yeah.
he had 2
In
in
one
that
day.
in that
On that
day.
day, and it was 2 within the hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was really gutted that our TV table was cutting away to the main table because they didn't show my pocket ace hands twice.
Right.
Couple of flushes and straights, and anytime I'd have that, I'd play it, and someone would always be in, and that's where the chips would come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you finished the day with how many chips? You start with 60,000.
Yeah, and then finished with 107,000.
Which is
Done all right.
That was
obscene.
good. That was
No,
good.
as in he was in the top 100 for the day. Which
How
was
many people were
insane.
there?
About 900,
900,
yeah,
something like
something
that.
Oh, wow.
To give you a little bit of context, how much that is, Sam Abernathy, the pro that gave us the tutorial the day before,
Yeah.
she finished day 1 with 30k,
Yeah,
Oh,
30,
wow.
40k. Yeah.
and he
Big
finished with
difference.
107.
No, even more so than that. The Jason, the pro that they were on, finished on 70k for the
Did
day.
he?
Yeah. So he finished
Oh,
on
I finished
70.
Hell.
on finished on more chips than our entire first table.
Yeah.
He finished on more chips than the 9th most richest poker player
Yeah.
in the
And you've
world.
never-
But
played
it also
3
does
weeks
show as
earlier.
well, like the next day, that Sam girl, she just finished her day 2 or whatever, and she's on 120 or something now. So depending on your day can really influence how it happened. But
Yeah.
100%.
he's absolutely caked it.
And the maddest thing is, day 2 happened, and these boys couldn't go back.
yeah,
You were doing
We
a
didn't even
Spotify
get a
thing,
chance.
Gutted,
Uh,
but we had to shoot.
and I don't think unless you know how big this tournament is, I don't think you'll realize how mental it is that you can make it through with 105,000 chips and not go to day 2. People
Yeah.
pay 10k, they save their whole life, whatever, win tournaments to be there, and Chip's gone through with almost double his starting stack, and he's not turning up. And he had so many chips that on day 2 he didn't turn up, so the dealer was just putting in his big blind and his small blind every time it was him. You made it through day 3.
he made it through to day 3 without even being there.
That is fucking
Yeah, I
mental.
just went on after day 2, finished, checked the leaderboard, scrolled all the way to the bottom. I was like, I've still got 15,000 chips left. I'm still actually in.
Which is a shame, because if you actually had any more, it would have been worth going back
You
out
know
for
what?
day
I
3.
genuinely think that I would have gone into day 3 with a good amount of chips because I
Yeah.
would have just played the same way.
Yeah.
And if I do have a really crazy hand, the chances are then I'll play and I might not lose, but it's begin. I think there was a lot of beginners looking there because I don't know how to play.
I just
that
think you
much.
played amazing. I think
Yeah,
really
you
good
did though. One of the biggest things is sticking to your game plan. It's very easy to get in there. The emotions get the better of you.
Yeah.
What?
You start all in all over again.
yeah.
Jack
But
got
that's what I
bullied.
mean. Like,
You got bullied.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
what I mean. It's easy to have a game plan and go in there, and then it just goes out the window.
Yeah.
But the whole experience was so
Insane.
sick. And I was
Insane.
thinking about it. I was like, do you know what? I think I'll probably go back next year and do it.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
I was thinking
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do it.
We'll have to link up again and go again next
Defo,
year.
man.
Yeah, we'll rope you in, and you've got a year to learn poker. You're a mathematician anyway, so maybe you
I'm
can
just
learn
hoping you eventually pay me that amount so I can get in it.
10,000. Jesus, you're having a laugh. But no, I just want to say a massive thank you to 888 Poker for sending myself, Carl, and Chip out there. It was honestly like incredible. I didn't realize.
It actually is a once in a lifetime experience. That.
Yeah,
Oh,
but we'll do
100%.
it again next year.
A first in a lifetime experience.
yeah. I've been playing the 888 Poker app as well. Like genuinely have been playing it.
It is good.
Yesterday I smashed some guy at a $50 buy-in. So
Happy days.
Yeah.
To be fair, I noticed you were on that quite a lot in Jamaica on the lead up to it. So it was like a little practice ground for you. And that's how you were doing it on the sly there. Me and Chip were on it here and there, but this guy was posting screenshots and all sorts of his winnings.
Yeah, this
I was
guy,
saying,
man.
oh, he's getting the practice in
This,
here.
yeah, he's a hustler, man.
But if you guys do feel like you want to get into poker, or maybe you already play poker, why not go and check out the 888 Poker app? I reckon it genuinely is a lot of fun.
It is.
It's easy to play, and it's just a little nod to the guys for sending me out there and letting me be part of that. So yeah, check out the 888 Poker app, and hopefully they'll have us back again for round 2 next year.
Prayers up.
Love it.